Hey, I'm Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in the game Mysterium Kids. Now, I've talked about Mysterium before on this channel, the main game Mysterium, and then my preferred way to play Mysterium because it's faster to set up, which is Mysterium Park. However, I didn't even know that Mysterium Kids existed until I was at Unplugged Game Cafe recently in Richmond, Virginia, and I happened to see they had it on the shelf. I had some kids with me, my nieces and nephews, and we decided to play Mysterium Kids. And it has a delightful twist that I was not expecting. The core hook of Mysterium is that one player is a ghost for the entire game, or a spirit for the entire game, and they are communicating to other players by showing them these dreamlike illustrated cards. They're using images to convey clues to the other players. So I was expecting that from Mysterium Kids, just with maybe less weird illustrations. But that's not what Mysterium Kids is. Instead, it does something different, and it adds a different hook to one player being the ghost the whole time. In Mysterium Kids, instead of communicating through images, you are communicating through sound, through music. This is a tambourine right here. A tambourine comes in this game, Mysterium Kids. I was not expecting that. And so when you are the ghost, when it is your turn to be the ghost, you are trying to communicate which of these 5 cards. So we have a drum here. We have a cat making a scratching motion. We have a heart beating. We have a train and a saw cutting through wood. You were trying to communicate one of those 5 cards that the game has told you to communicate through sound. You have everyone close their eyes, and you use this tambourine. Both the drum part, you can use the side part. You can there are kind of these grooves on the side of it that you can make other sounds with. You can use any part of the tambourine to make sounds to communicate one of these cards to the players. It is really, really creative. I think it's something that I'd probably rather do at my home rather than in a game cafe where it can be a bit noisy. But I was really, really surprised that this was the way of communicating the cards, which card you were trying to communicate to the other players in the game. And the other hook here, crucially, is that you get to pass this around. One player isn't the ghost for the entire game. You take turns being the ghost, and all players just work together. They talk. So after it's my turn being the ghost, all other players would talk and decide which card they think I was communicating, and they would just make one card selection. They have a group consensus. They make one selection. So some of the elements of Mysterium and even Mysterium Park that are a little bit complex at times, they're distilled down to this kid's version in a really clever way. And I really like that everybody gets to have a turn being the ghost. It's fun to be the ghost in games like this, I think, but it's also a lot of pressure. And so I don't necessarily want to be the ghost for the entire game, but being the ghost for a turn or a couple turns in a lower player count game, I think is really satisfying. But yeah, that added to this use of the tambourine, use of sound in the game, I thought was really creative in Mysterium Kids. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've played a game where you are communicating to other players in a unique way. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments below. Thanks.